Hey, what's up, guys? I got a lot of great feedback on all my crazy stories I have of my life, and I have a lot. I hope to continue doing those, and I will. But there's one I would like to tell you guys today, which is a crazy one. And it was the time that I relocated, which means his finger was actually this finger was completely sideways at a rave. A rave, I don't know if you guys know, is like essentially a small music festival. So I'll tell you all the details on this, okay? So when I finished massage school, I moved to a place called Whistler. Whistler is very well known in the world for being like one of the most like best ski resorts, ski towns there is, okay? But this was after the skiing was done for the season, okay? And I went with some roommates, and it was in like so. It was essentially around this time of year. Okay, so there wasn't no snow anywhere, and it was the time of year where there's a lot of music festivals and raves. Raves being small music festivals in the woods. Like usually it's in the back, like in an area called Crownland we have in Canada, well in British Columbia specifically, where there's no police, there's no nothing. It's in the middle of nowhere. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You can shoot guns off there. You can fucking do whatever. People live out there and aren't bothered. But people also throw raves there, big parties. So we went to a rave, and I was part of the electronic music scene in Whistler because we threw a night there that was very popular. So I knew all the DJs, and I was a DJ myself there, and photographer for nightclub photography. I wasn't doing photography this night though, but I was also a massage therapist at the time. So I went to the music festival, the rave, and had a great time. At the time, I did a drug called MDMA. Okay, I don't do that anymore. I haven't done it in 4 years. But MDMA is a party drug where you feel very empathetic. You feel very, in tune with music and the lights and everything. Okay. Some things about it are great, but I don't know. Maybe it makes you feel really weird as well, and sometimes sick, and sometimes the next day just feel depleted, and it's like, ugh. So I thought, in that regard, I don't like to do it because I don't like to feel unhealthy. I'm a health guy. I like to be healthy. But anyway, I was on a lot of MDMA at the time. My buddy, I don't know if you know about MDMA. I used to have crystals of it like this big. I could get like all the time. They were like purple, and it looked like it was a geode rock. Okay? It was like really good stuff. So anyway, I was high as fuck on this shit, and partied through the night. And then the morning came. The next morning it was already sunlight. It was probably 7, 8 in the morning, and there was a zip line, and people were ziplining naked across this river that was flowing through the music festival. Or it was, Yeah, there was chicks naked, ziplining, everything. Tits out, vag out. There's guys with their dick out, ziplining. I wasn't. But I was there, having a great time, still doing my fucking MDMA, still tripping out. Anyway, a friend of one of my roommates, who's an English lad, ziplined, and what he did was wrapped the zip line around his hand, butt ass naked or buck naked, went across, and then he dropped off, and somehow it caught one of his fingers. I don't know how, but it did. Fell in the water, got out of the water naked. He looks at his hand. This finger was pointed sideways, like right from this knuckle this way. Okay, it's like, but he wasn't like upset about it. He was probably really high. I don't know, mushrooms or whatever else he took that day. He's looking at his hand. He's like, "Holy shit!" So I ran up to him, and I know first aid, and I know massage therapy. Like, let me look at it. Let me inspect this. I told him, I'm like, okay, it's a good idea that you reset this now because it's going to be more difficult if you wait a few hours. By the time you get back to the hospital, which we're not close to a town or anything, at the time. So it's like, do you want me to reset it? Do I have your permission to reset this right now? He's looking at it and he's like, yeah, sure, all right. So I took it. But this knuckle was, again, it was sideways. And I separated the knuckle and then went, popped it back into place. And he's like, he could then bend it, but barely. It was like, they can bend fingers like this. This one was like this, okay? But it was like reset into place. And then there was a bunch of Czechoslovakian guys there, and they're like, dude, we need to take you to the hospital, man. We need to take you to the hospital. We need to take you to the hospital. He's like, all right. You go to the hospital. They went to the hospital, and they saw there was some trauma there, right? Then he ended up going back to England because of this, because he didn't have proper health care in Canada or whatever. I don't know what reason he went, but he went back to fucking England, okay? And I didn't find this out until about 2 months after. Right? Disrupted his whole work and everything. He wasn't able, because obviously he went back, right? Well, he ended up coming back, and because he's a friend of my roommates, I saw him at one party. Again, I think it was high as hell. And he's like, dude, I went back to England to get my proper medical care and to be looked at. And they said that it was reset so well that they didn't need to do surgery or anything. Like, whoever reset your fucking finger into place, like, did it so perfectly. It was the joint, the articulation of that joint where, okay, so it's the phalangeal joint, right? And what you have is, like, it's called pips and dips, they're called. So one is concave and one is convex, right? It's convex on concave, right? Where this is where the articulation happens in turn. I set it back into the joint so fast and so proper that they didn't need to do any surgery, and that was so fucking unheard of based on the degree of what it actually was. So he's like thanking me for that, and he went all the way back to fucking Europe to figure that out, and that's what they told him, which is kind of crazy. But again, this is an extreme example of something that I want to relay to you guys that I've experienced many times. Not this is an extreme example though, but there's been other examples where me as a massage therapist have helped people heal in ways that are almost supernatural. Now you might be like, this is just a matter of resetting a joint. Yeah, I get that, but there's been times where I've made people walk who have been unable to walk after years. I've had made people raise their shoulder more than, again, okay, here's another story. Again, at an after party, this guy has frozen shoulder. This one's fine. This one's like this. He can't raise it, right? I'm like, let me work on you for 5 minutes. Okay. I'm at the party, fucking like working shit again. We're high as hell. I did a lot of drugs at this time. I don't do them anymore though. I don't like drugs. I don't recommend doing drugs. Working his shoulder, working the whole joint, shaking his arm, doing all that shit, right? Okay, now raise your arm. He's like, what? He hasn't been able to do that in years. And this is at an after party. It's like a party trick. Crazy. Again, shoulder joint, finger joint. I know how to, and there's something kind of, I call it supernatural, to be honest, but it's not. It is based on science, but it is beyond what science actually teaches. Where my ability to fucking heal people, it's just like I get in tune with what needs to be done. Just like pop it back into place, or work his shoulder. What? That guy's name was Dickens, of all things. He was also another English guy. Again, a friend of my roommates. I can give more examples of this, more so in my job, but I just want to give you 2 party tricks where I've healed people's fucked up joints. That one though where I can't the image of him coming out of the water with his fucking dick out, with his fucking finger like this, being like, he's high as hell. Oh shit. Dude, do you want me to fix your finger? Sure. Pop it back in place. That was a fucking hilarious experience. One that I'll never forget. Only time I've actually relocated somebody's joint, because that's beyond my scope of practice of work. Like, and nobody's come into work with dislocated joint, but if they did, I'm allowed to do that. But because it wasn't part of my work, I was like, dude, I'm a massage therapist. You want me to try? You should do it now. It's the same thing with nose. If somebody breaks their nose, it's best to relocate it properly right away. Because if it's waited like that for hours, it's going to be a lot more difficult. Healing process takes place. Things take place. Like, it's not painful at that time too. Like, I don't know if you guys have broken bones or things before. Initially, it's not that painful. So to relocate won't be as painful. You gotta do it fast. Once it happens and the pain sets in and inflammation, swelling happens, it's gonna be a lot more difficult, a lot more painful. So anyway, that's my story about that. My party trick, how to relocate a joint and help the guy with frozen shoulder. And frozen shoulder is something I do all the time. So that was one that was part of my scope of practice to work this joint, the AC joint, the glenohumeral joint, and the surrounding muscles, such as rotator cuff muscles, supraspinatus, things like that, and even the pectorals, things like that, to get everything loose so that I can, and then jiggle it and then pop it, like being able for them to raise it again. Essentially called de-thawing the joint. So anyway, what do you guys think about that? Fucking, yeah, that was funny as hell. Funny ass time. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Peace.